If you're a realtor, I'm going to consider this video a must watch, okay? The reason why is this. I'm finding plenty of mistakes that are being made by your broker's accounting team. And these mistakes are costing you thousands of dollars in additional tax. Let me kind of list out these three items for you, but I want you to listen beyond just me listing the items out, because I want to show you how this is impacting you and how to sort of avoid this and the things that you need to tell your broker to do to correct these mistakes, okay? Number one is as follows. Your broker is adding someone else's commissions to your 1099. The second one is your broker is just sort of fat fingering the amount of payment to you. And so you're not even noticing it, but it's a slightly off and it's costing you a few $100s. The third is that your broker is, for whatever reason, issuing your 1099 for the gross commission instead of the net, the amount paid to you. So instead of netting the amount after their take and their splits and fees and what have you, they're issuing you the 1099 for the gross amount. Again, you need to pay attention here because your bookkeeper is not going to catch this. Your tax preparer is not going to catch this. Even a regular sort of CPA is likely not going to catch this, okay? Before I jump into, more detail about those three things, let me just quickly introduce myself if it's your first time watching. My name is Navi Miraj, and normally I create content and put it out all over social media to help business owners save thousands of dollars in taxes. But this video is a little bit different, okay? One thing that I do in my CPA firm is I specialize in helping real estate professionals. So I'm able to see these trends that are happening in your industry and identify these problems and be able to tell my clients what's going on. But I'm going to be sharing some of the, stuff that I've learned with you today in this video. So this is a benefit of working with a professional that sort of specializes or understands a particular industry. And that's not an infomercial, I guess I should say, to reach out to me. If you're not going to reach out to me, reach out to someone else that, specializes in your industry so they can identify these issues. Anyway, let's jump into our first thing that I've sort of identified here as a problem, and that is your broker is adding someone else's commissions to your 1099. So this has happened to me or I should say this has happened to me or some of my clients, and I've identified this and I'm trying to figure out what's going on here, all right? So what's going on is I'm asking my client to place an inquiry with their broker, and the broker is saying, whoops, yeah, we had this $12,000 as going to you, but it actually went to someone else, another agent in the office. And so the 1099 you receive from them is sort of inflated, all right? Let me explain why this is potentially a big deal. First off, it's not easy to catch. If you're not keeping up with your bookkeeping throughout the year, you may never even realize that there's an error here. What I do for my clients and what I recommend that you do is compare your books to what's listed on your 1099. And if there's a difference, you got to investigate that difference. So you should be asking for a detailed commission report that shows each transaction, the date that it was paid, and the amount that was paid, and make sure that that agrees with your books, okay? If you don't have a good accountant that's taking the, extra work or the time to do this extra step for you, or perhaps you don't have any bookkeeping at all, this is what's gonna happen. Your tax preparer is going to request your 1099 that you received, right? Or maybe they won't even request it. You'll just give them your 1099, and it's going to say, for example, you made $134,000 in commissions this year, right? And then your tax preparer is going to use that dollar amount as the income that you received throughout the year. And then they're also going to ask you, okay, well, give me your expenses. What were your expenses for the year? And they're going to key that in as your deductions, offsetting the income that you gave them earlier, right? But if they do this, you may end up paying taxes on an additional $12,000 of income because no one is checking to see if the amount that was on your 1099 is actually what you received and correct to begin with, okay? This error can cost you thousands of dollars in taxes, right? Because if you multiply that $12,000 times your tax bracket, and so let's say conservatively that's 25% between Fed and state, that's $3,000 of additional tax that you're paying for no reason because of an error that was made on your, or I should say by your broker. And also, you got to own that too because you don't have proper bookkeeping or anything like that. That's kind of your fault as well. So in this instance, if this is happening to you, you should go back to your broker, inform them of the error, and have them issue a corrected 1099. By the way, if your business is taxed as an S corporation, then technically your broker shouldn't even be issuing you a 1099 to begin with. So you can ask them to stop. Likely they won't though, because they just kind of go through that routine and issue 1099s for all agents in your office, regardless if they're an S corporation or not. All right, the second thing that I've been identifying this year is that your broker or someone there on the payment team or whatever is fat fingering your commission payment. So what I mean by this is, again, a bookkeeper is not going to identify this, and neither is a tax preparer. I've been able to identify a few instances this year where the realtor, let's say, is supposed to get $7,608 in commissions, but instead the payment is issued for $7,068. Now, in this instance, that would be a difference of $540, right? But I've identified for a larger producer, $600 mistake. And even for a producer who earned, I think, just under $50,000 in commissions, her payments were off by $150, and for her, that $150 matters, okay? So if you're out there, just crushing it, you may not notice that mistake. And again, your bookkeeper is not going to identify it either. They're going to see the deposit in your accounting software and just key it in as revenue. And your broker is, going to just issue your 1099 for the correct amount. So the only way to identify this is for you to compare your detailed commission report with the commission paid in your QuickBooks or your business account or your accounting software. And I know a big chunk of you out there, don't fool yourself, you don't have a separate business account and you don't have accounting software to kind of go back and have these sort of checks and balances with you. So are you going to take the time to do this? Maybe not. And will you even identify the error to begin with? You might just go about your business and not realize is that you're either overpaying in tax or that you were sort of stiffed a certain amount of dollars because you're not paying attention to this on a daily basis. So the third thing I wanted to bring to your attention was that your broker could be issuing your 1099 for the gross amount of the commission instead of the net amount, right? So, let's say there was going to be a total of $20,000 of commissions. They're going to issue your 1099 based on the $20,000 number, and they're not deducting and pulling out their split and their fees from that amount on the 1099, okay? So this last one that I'm talking about here, this issue, this is not happening a ton, but it could easily happen. If you're a producer and you're just, changing brokerages and you're going to a new brokerage that's like low fees because you don't need, lead generation anymore, you're more tenured at this point, this is happening. I've seen it a few times here. So again, let me explain what's going on here. They're issuing a 1099 before your split and before their fees. This is a problem because let's say as a result of your broker doing this, the 1099 issued to you is for $153,000, right? But you know that that's not right. That's the gross amount. And so you received only $97,000 in commissions. You're probably just going to claim the $97,000 of income on your tax return and think everything's fine, right? That makes sense, right? But what's happening behind the scenes is the IRS is receiving a copy of that 1099 that your broker issued to you. And they're saying, hey, this broker said that they paid the agent $153,000, but the agent is only claiming $97,000 as income on their tax return. Let's go ahead and flag this. There's a problem here, and who knows, that could lead to like a full-blown audit, and it's not going to be pretty, folks. All right. So the moral of the story is, I guess there's a couple morals. Number one is make sure this doesn't happen to you, right? And you may not know if it's happening to you or not. So the way to identify this is basically ask for a detailed commission report and reconcile that amount, that's sort of an accounting term, compare that amount to what you received in your bank account, okay? And make sure these amounts agree. And then taking it one step further, make sure that amount agrees with what's on your 1099 that you're getting from your broker, okay? So I'll kind of leave you with that. If you want more traditional information, you can go to my website. I'll pull it up real quick. Here it is. It's navimuradcpa.com. I don't want to talk too much about the website. The point of this video was not that. But if you want to learn more about how I help clients and real estate professionals, you can check here. If you want to sort of self-service yourself, I've cloned myself. I successfully have done that via a course, right? So there's over 11 hours of content here that you can check out. I teach tax, bookkeeping, accounting, tax strategies, how to implement them in your business, what an S Corp is, how to implement those as strategies, how to pay yourself properly, all that and more is in this course. But you can connect with me on social media here. If you want some free tools, that's here too. You can download this expense tracker to track your income and expenses throughout the year. There's even some tabs in there to help you deduct home office and your mileage, internet, cell phone, things like that, okay? If you want to file an LLC or create an S corporation, you can do that here. If you want to connect with me and schedule a Q&A session, a 30-minute or an hour-long Q&A session, you're more than welcome to do so. Anyway, there's a bunch of other resources on my website. A lot of them are free. Go check them out. So with that said, appreciate you watching. Hope you learned something. Make sure that you audit your broker. They're not always doing things correctly. And if you're experiencing some of this, leave me a comment below or share this with a fellow real estate agent so they can identify these mistakes for themselves. All right? With that said, I will see you in the next video.